Welcome back, everyone, to the Rush Hour Sports Network. It is your host, Smoothe, and of course, joined as always by frequent guest whenever I do this is Benji, aka B. What's going on, B Money?
What's good, fam?
Good to have you back. This week let's just be honest. At this point, we're gonna fly through the remaining two NFC conferences, and then we're just gonna go right into our weekly schedule that we pretty much do during the season every year. Week 1 starts Thursday?
Correct.
So yeah, we have pretty much literally waited to the very last minute to get through the conferences, but here we are. We're gonna go ahead and fly through the South and fly through the East. Let's just go ahead and start with the South first. Let's see. Let's just go ahead and start at the bottom. At the top to the bottom. It's pretty much self-explanatory, kind of, because with the Saints, since we're going to start with New Orleans, the main question is, the main question in the offseason was who was going to be the quarterback, to start the season. Jameis Winston won the quarterback battle and is announced the starter. And now the questions become, okay, now that Jameis has won the job, what exactly is he going to do? Is he going to be another, guy that throws the same amount of touchdowns as he does picks? Is he going to improve? Is that time spent behind Drew Brees going to actually do him good? Did it hurt him? It's a very important, I'd say a very important thing to answer, because once you get the answer to that, it's pretty much going to tell you how the rest of the team's going to be. Because if Jameis is right, and, of course, the running game does what the running game does, then the offense has some potential to do some good. The defense, of course, needs a little bit of work, but I think it is still good enough to at least keep the Saints in some games. Now, I don't know how they're going to do this year, though. I still think within their division, they can come in second place to the Buccaneers, who we'll talk about in a minute, but as far as the Saints go, I just need to see what their quarterback situation is going to be like and how that team's going to look now that Drew Brees is no longer there, because this is literally the first season that the Saints will have with a quarterback that's not named Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Essentially. So,
wow.
I'm pretty much pegging the Saints to be in second place. They won 12 games last year. I'm going to, I'm probably going to say, I don't believe they're going to win that many games because it's Jameis Winston, and we have to see how he really shapes up. But just a prediction wise, I'm probably gonna peg them at 10-7, like a 9-8, 10-7 team, most likely.
Yeah, for me, I kind of see it in some ways where I'd be impressed if they can have a winning record. I think the other story is too, along with Jameis Winston not being being the new quarterback and Drew Brees gone. The defense is okay. The New Orleans Saints defense is okay. With Marshawn Lattimore, Cameron Jordan, all them.
Right.
The biggest thing that I'm concerned about with this Saints team is who is Jameis Winston even throwing to? Because other than Alvin Kamara catching football in the backfield with Michael Thomas, they lost Jared Cook, he's now a Charger, and they lost Emmanuel Sanders, who's now with the Bills. So this is going to be, I just don't have a lot of faith in not only the fact that Jameis Winston is now the quarterback versus Drew Brees, but also just it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of targets, because they didn't really give him anything in the draft either. And it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of targets or anything out there for their passing offense to flourish. So I'd be impressed if this team does any better than 8-9.
Well, that's the thing. That's pretty much the range they're going to hover at, because the question again is, what's that offense going to look like? We know what the running game is going to be like, but what's the whole passing offense going to be like? Because even if, let's say the Saints do have a target or two, is Jameis even going to make it to them? Because Jameis is that guy who's going to throw the same amount of touchdowns that he does picks. So it's we have to see how he plays. We have to see how the Saints respond to not even having any real weapons for the guy in terms of receivers. And we're just going to have to see how that whole offense is going to click now that they don't have Drew Brees to rely on for the entire game. So, yeah, the Saints are definitely not going to win the division this year, though. They're definitely not going to win. Yeah, they're going to be.
I don't even see them making the playoffs for the wild card.
Yeah, they're not really going to make the playoffs either. They're going to end up in second place in this division. The only team that's going to make it out of the... I'd say the only team that's going to the playoffs out of this division is going to be the Buccaneers, which, I mean, we can go ahead and jump into them right now. You and I pretty much labeled the Saints. The Buccaneers, the Buccaneers is rather interesting. They win the Super Bowl on the back of Tom Brady, who, let's be honest, the man is way too old to be quarterback in the NFL, but for some reason, he still does just enough during playoff time. It's like during the regular season he's trash, but during the playoff time he turns it up, he gets it into high gear, and he's able to lead everybody right to a Super Bowl. And he once again did it, and what it proves is New England pretty much relied on Tom Brady for those wins, because look at what Belichick had over there, and he couldn't even get to the playoffs with what he had after Brady left. So I mean, that Patriots dynasty was pretty much Tom Brady and then Belichick just calling the plays in the background. But also, what this rises as well is, can the Buccaneers do it again? Now, they have back some important pieces. You know, they were able to keep Antonio Bryant. They were able to keep.
They don't just have the important pieces back; they have everyone.
That's what I'm saying. They have their.
Which is wild.
That's what I mean. They have their essentials back. They were able to lock down, not of course everyone, but of course the essential pieces as well. The ones that really were essential in them making it to the Super Bowl. But yeah, the fact that they were able to lock down everyone was pretty remarkable. And in a way, it shows that the Buccaneers are all in on this plan to pretty much repeat. They're going to keep everybody. They're going to try to keep everyone for as long as they can. And they're going to try to make, I'd say, a little dynasty down there in Tampa. Now, it sounds crazy, obviously, because Tom Brady is way too old for this. And let's be honest, Kyle Trask, the guy that the Buccaneers drafted as a backup QB, is nowhere near Tom Brady level. And even if he was, he's not ready to shoulder a dynasty yet. We don't even know who the hell the guy is. He's just a scrub at this point. So,
well, but at least if he ever did have to play, he's got Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, Cameron Brate, Rob Gronkowski, all of them to throw to.
But that's the thing, though. Do you think? Yeah, he has all those weapons, but as we have seen in the past,
and the offensive line is good.
Well, that's the thing. We have seen in the past that some quarterbacks have been given it all and have fumbled the bag completely. We have not seen anything.
Even need to throw it. The Bucs have not one, not two, but three quality running backs.
They definitely don't need to throw it. My thing is, though, when he does throw it, is it going to end up in a receiver's hands or the defender's hands? That's what we need to find out from the rookie when it becomes his time. And unfortunately, it looks like Brady's going to hold down that starting spot for at least another season or two, which sounds crazy. It's absolutely crazy. The man's way too old to have that spot, but yet here he is holding it down and winning championships at a very old age. Now, like you said, bro, they brought everybody back. The question is, can they repeat? I think this year they can win the division, something they did not do last year. They won the Super Bowl, which is way more important, but they did not win the division. I think this year they get that done. And I mean, oh, absolutely. And I mean, hey, call me crazy, but I mean, the Buccaneers got to be at least favorites to make it back to the Super Bowl, right?
I agree.
I mean, hey, I'm pretty sure odds makers would absolutely have pretty good lines on the Buccaneers making it back to the Super Bowl. They have to be one of the perennial favorites. So, with that being said, go ahead.
With that, I mean, plain and simple, just to make the prediction now, they are my NFC team, my NFC Super Bowl participant.
Representative? Oh, absolutely. I can, and I absolutely understand why, to be honest. I think, you know what? I think it could come down to them and the Buffalo Bills. I really do. I think it could come down to them and the Bills. The Bills obviously have a tougher task because they have to get past like the likes of the Chiefs, you know. But
The
with,
AFC is just stacked, period. But,
right, it's stacked. The only thing the only division the Buccaneers have to worry about encountering in the playoffs is the NFC West. Like, if the Buccaneers were to somehow encounter the Seahawks, that would be interesting. If they encounter the Rams, it'd be interesting. If they encounter the Cardinals, that'd be a shootout. If they encounter the 49ers with Trey Lance, that would be very interesting. Now, other than that, they can go through whoever wins the NFC East, a division that, I mean, we might as well call it the NFC least because this this division is garbage. And they can absolutely tear through the North. Maybe a pissed off Aaron Rodgers would be the only hurdle for them like it was last year. But they could tear through the Bears, they can beat up the Vikings, and they can absolutely curb stomp and skull drag the Lions. So, yeah, I'm thinking the Buccaneers could very well be the NFC representative. I agree with you on that one when it comes to the Super Bowl.
yeah.
And I'm going to go ahead.
It's really the thing that takes us to the next team in the division.
That's true. Oh, by the way, for my record for the Buccaneers, even though I'm going to put them at a division winner, I'm going to say they get 12 wins this year. I'm going to go for the 12-5 mark. So, I'm going to give them 12 wins.
13.
Oh, you said 13?
Actually, no. I'm going to go 14 wins for the Bucs.
Wow. So, 14-3, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, 14-3. I like that. We both have them as division winners, but you have them winning 14 games. I got them pegged at 12. I like that prediction. That's a good one. And like you said, going to the next team, traveling to Carolina, things are getting interesting at Carolina because they have decided to move on from Teddy Bridgewater, who is now taking over the reins in Denver. And in exchange for Bridgewater, they go with Sam Darnold from the New York Jets. Now, that Jets organization was under Adam Gase when Sam Darnold was there, so Darnold obviously accumulated a good amount of damage there in New York. They didn't ruin him to the point where he's hopeless. He's not like a Josh Rosen where he's just going to forever go to teams and never really be given that opportunity. But I think here in Carolina, he has a chance to kind of redeem himself a bit. They get back Christian McCaffrey. They have DJ Moore and the receiving core looking all right. And the defense, obviously, it's funny because the coach is defensive minded, but that defense still has some work that needs to be done on it. That defense is still very suspect, the Matt Rule defense. And I think overall, the Panthers are still a work in progress. I'd say they're still a work in progress, man. I don't see them making it, not just making it to the playoffs. I don't see them contending with the Buccaneers or even contending with the Saints for like the second place spot. I see them right where they are right now, actually, in third place.
Yeah, I can see. I mean, my thing about the Panthers, I think there's still a lot of potential with this team. I mean,
yes.
I remember last year they were one of my scrappy teams that I like to watch play. And maybe I might do that this year, picking like my scrappy teams of the year, because my two scrappy teams of the year last year were the Raiders in the AFC and kind of the Panthers in the NFC. They played for Matt Rule really well.
Right.
They just didn't have the talent to match up. And the thing is, there's a lot of promise in some talent that they do have. They do got Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore, wide receiver, which I think is a great duo that has a lot of promise. Who was the running back that they drafted this year? Chuba Hubbard. I think he's a fifth-round running back, but he showed some promise, I think, in the preseason. And then they also drafted Terrence Marshall, was another wide receiver for them in the second round, who had first-round buzz on him. So that could be a steal that they were able to get, too. And then on defense, You got Hassan Reddick that they brought in, and some other good pieces, and of course they drafted J.C. Horn in the first round. There's some pieces there. There's some hope there for this team. They also got Brian Burns, some other young guys. It's just a matter of, I think, just that coaching. I think another year of seasoning. And is Sam Darnold better than Adam Gase showed us that he could, that he was? And I think there's reason to believe that Sam Darnold is all right. I mean, keep this in mind. There's another quarterback currently in the NFL who used to be the quarterback for an Adam Gase-led football team. And he was a first-round pick just like Sam Darnold. And during his time with Adam Gase, he had trouble staying healthy. There was some promise here and there, but ultimately didn't really play very well on and off the field with injuries and stuff. He ends up leaving that team, goes to another team, and granted, he's not the centerpiece of that team, but he's still playing considerably better football now under a new coach. That person that I'm talking about is Ryan Tannehill.
Right.
And we see what he's doing in Tennessee now. And
yes.
I think there's a chance that Sam Darnold could be the next Ryan Tannehill in that vein, where now that Adam Gase is no longer his coach, maybe he can prove that he's all right. It's going to be a matter of,
it's going to be interesting.
How quickly can he turn around and
right.
As I said, it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's going to be, especially with a coach like Matt Rule that's like defensive minded. Like I wonder what the offensive coordinator is going to do to like work with Sam Darnold extensively. I'm pretty sure they have some sort of like game day coordinator for that, but I agree with you though. That's going to be a team to watch, and I think they're going to be scrappy and competitive because even though they're a work in progress, they still have some pieces that at least give them enough to compete. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like enough to compete on a given Sunday. However, with that being said, I am going to, let's see, they won 5 games last year. I think this year they're going to do a little bit better. I'm going to peg them, though, at 6. Actually, no, I'm going to peg them at 7-10. I think 7-10 is fair.
I think, and the thing is, too, I agree with that in 7-10, and I think if they can reach 7-10, I would consider this a successful season for the Carolina Panthers team.
Yeah,
I believe they're
right.
Another year or two away from being, a considerable contending opponent for a playoff spot.
Right.
So if you can improve from 5 wins to 7 wins, I'm good with that.
Yeah, hey, it's a step up, man. Any step up is a big step up indeed. So, definitely a record I can see for them in their immediate future. But with that being said, let's take a trip from Carolina to your old stomping grounds here, Georgia. Well, your old stomping grounds, I should say. Yes, sir. The ATL. Now, and I say your old because if there's anybody that I know that knows Atlanta Falcons football, it is you, because you have witnessed up close and personal what this Atlanta Falcons team does to its own fans. And I got to be honest with you, when I came to Georgia, when I came to Atlanta to watch that game with you when we went to watch Lamar in the Atlanta Dome, I witnessed it firsthand how those Falcons fans treat football versus how the Ravens fans treat football. And it's not the Falcons fans' fault, but it's all the heartache that the Falcons have caused its fans to make them feel that way about the team. And when you look at that team right now, I could see why fans feel the way they feel about them right now because, Julio is gone, bro. Julio Jones is gone. He's in Tennessee now, which still blows my mind,
Yeah.
Matt Ryan, let's be real. Matt Ryan is on his way out, man. This is Matt Ryan's last season. I believe after this season, he will be on a new team.
I agree, or at least I think it should be that way.
Absolutely. And
we'll see if it actually ends up that way.
I agree.
I have my doubts.
And you know what? You have every right to feel that way. And I'm thinking, now, this is what I'm just thinking, though, but because you are an expert Georgia sports historian, you know for a fact that it's better to not have high hopes for the Falcons. So I will always keep that in mind. What I'm thinking, though, is that shipping out Julio is going to be the start of that long-running rebuild that Arthur Blank that the owner hasn't really wanted to, like I say, commit to for a while. But I believe now the Falcons are in a spot where they have no choice but to commit to that rebuild.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to have to happen soon. And there's already pieces that they lost. I mean, you talk about Julio Jones.
Right.
And some other pieces they lost along the way. This offseason, Darquez Denard, Alex Mack, they lost their center, Ricardo Allen, playing safety, Keanu Neal. Like, there's not a lot of pieces left from, like, that team that played in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, other than Matt Ryan. I think the biggest thing here for the Falcons moving forward is, or what's giving them hope is the fact that, alongside Calvin Ridley, they drafted Kyle Pitts.
Right.
And the thought is Kyle Pitts is going to be just as good, if not better, than Julio Jones is the feeling around Atlanta. But I just don't think it's enough. I mean, I still think that defense has all types of questions.
Yes.
And it always has. I mean, that defense has never been secure. I mean, you don't lose so many games and lose big leads without having the defense that's been as bad as the Falcons' defense has been. Even last year, I mean, how many games did they lose last year after being up by like 20 points or more?
Oh, man. It was.
I remember it happened at Dallas. It
Yes.
happened against the Bears.
Yep.
And there might have been another one just last season alone.
There was like you said, there was at least 3 different games where Atlanta blew 20-point plus leads and ended up losing.
Yeah, I mean,
long
story short, the problem with this team has never been the offense.
Right. It's always been the
And it seems
defense.
like they're not really addressing it. I mean, again, you drafted Kyle Pitts with your 4th overall pick, and that's cool or whatever. But
And that's going to force out
on the board. We're just talking about J.C. Horn, who got picked a couple picks later.
Right.
Might have made more sense for y'all.
Not to mention that just pushes out Hayden Hurst, which is like, okay, you kind of wasted time on that guy, which sucks for him because
who was also a first-round pick just for another team.
Exactly. So it's it's like Atlanta. What are you doing? You're just in the constant
I understand
cycle.
the argument that Kyle Pitts could potentially be a generational talent, but
He is, but yeah, it's like they have way bigger needs than that. And I thought Hayden Hurst was a serviceable tight end in my opinion. I thought the Ravens got rid of him too early, but when they shipped him to Atlanta, I thought, okay, maybe in Atlanta he can thrive in that offense. But it seems like they've already given up on him for Kyle Pitts, and it's like, what the fuck? But anyways, yeah. Atlanta not making all the right moves for success. They're just making moves because they're kind of backed into a corner and forced to. Ever since 28-3 in the Super Bowl against the Patriots, that team has been cursed, damaged, and just, I'd say, just absolutely like heart-wrenching to those fans. So that being said, I am going to give the Atlanta Falcons, they won 4 games last year. I'll be shocked if they win more than 6, but I'm gonna go 5 and 12. I think that's a good.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think.
Maybe 6 points, but 5 sounds good.
Yeah, like you said, maybe 6, but 5 and 12 seems like it's serviceable. Seems like it's good enough. And with that being said, folks, that is the NFC South. We both believe the NFC representative in the Super Bowl will be coming out of that division. And with that being said, let's wrap up the final division in the NFC. The NFC least, a.k.a. the NFC East. Listen, we're going to fly through this because, let's just be honest, you and I can agree, B-Money, that this division is awful. And it's so bad that we don't have to spend time on how awful it is. All the people has to do is tune in on game day, and they will see how awful this whole division is, top to bottom. But just going through it all, the Washington football team probably has the best chance to win it all. In terms of this division, that is. Not win the fucking Super Bowl. They're not going to no Super Bowl, no. But they have the best chance to win the division. They obviously have question marks at quarterback. They have Fitzpatrick starting the season, but we all know how Fitz magic is. It's good for about 6 weeks. It's going to die off. And then whoever the backup is pretty much left to carry the team for the rest of the way. Taylor Heineke did good enough against the Buccaneers to where fans in Washington wanted to make him the starter, but it's a smart move to put Fitzpatrick in there first. Let him get some miracle wins for 5-6 weeks, and then let him fade out, and then throw Heineke in there. And then if he sucks, throw in Kyle Allen, even though Kyle Allen's pretty trash too. They have a fantastic running back in Antonio Gibson. Hopefully he does not tear his legs up or anything, because if he can stay healthy, he's going to be a problem. The receiving core, of course, is amazing, headlined by Terry McLaurin, who is an amazing player for them. I just hope Washington does not waste that guy's career, because he's a superstar over there. And then, of course, the defense. The defense is what's going to carry Washington. Chase Young is going to put that team on his back, and he's going to carry them to victory. Landon Collins is a trash safety, but in the past he has made Pro Bowls and shit, so hopefully he can pull his head out of his ass and help out that back end of the defense, because Chase Young can only play defensive end. He can't play defensive end and safety, all because Landon Collins is a slow ass. And of course they do have St. Jude, who's a really good corner from Minnesota. He's going to be a good piece for them. But overall, Washington will win this division. That is true. They also brought in William Jackson. That's very true. He's going to be a very good piece for them as well. And with that being said, I think this team is going to win the division. They're not going to have any playoff success per tradition in Washington, but they will make it back to the playoffs. They were 7-9 last year. That is a putrid fucking record to go into the playoffs with. So I am going to peg them at, oh, good lord, they're probably going to be the only divisional team with probably a very low win record. So I'm going to put them at, you know what? I could see them going in at 9-8. I'm going to say 9-8.
I agree with that. I mean,
it's either going to be 9-8 or 8-9. It's going to be one of those two.
I think that as slim as it is,
right,
they're still better than they were last year.
I agree with that. They definitely got better.
I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to, he'll be up and down, but he'll still be better than the carousel of quarterbacks you had last year.
Yeah,
and
right.
On top of that, they've added some extra weapons. We talked about Terry McLaurin too, but as far as some other signings, they brought in Curtis Samuel as well as
he's a good one.
Adam Humphries.
Adam Humphries, a good one. Very good one.
And then, as you mentioned through a lot of their additions for the defense as well. I think we should also mention their first-round pick, Jamin Davis, as well.
Yeah, he's already got that starting spot too on the defense, so he's going to be the key behind Chase Young. Like with Chase Young and him back there, it's going to be wild.
So I think, especially with that defense, because that defense is probably going to be top 5 in the league.
Oh, absolutely!
That defense alone will probably get them that 9-8 record and get them into the playoffs.
Yes, it's like you said. It's going to be one of those teams where it'll be defensive oriented, and what Ron Rivera is hoping for is that Fitzpatrick doesn't fuck it up, and that Heineke is a good enough game manager. Now, what's interesting is Heineke and Fitzpatrick are the same type of player. They're both gunslingers. The only difference is Taylor Heineke can run, whereas Fitzpatrick cannot run. So even if Fitzpatrick were to get injured or get benched, they wouldn't have to change the whole playbook for the new quarterback. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't be that big of an adjustment for them. So it seems like Ron Rivera has a plan to keep the offense steady while the defense carries the load. So Yeah, we're going to give them that 8-9, 9-8 record out in D.C. and traveling to, oh God, all the way to New York/New Jersey, the Giants. Oh boy. Where do we begin, man? Fights during training camp. Everybody fighting each other during training camp. 3 players quitting after fights breaking out of training camp. Daniel Jones getting like trampled upon during said fights. The team looks like it's in shambles. Poor Saquon Barkley is about to be used, wasted, and fed to the wolves as soon as the games start again. And unfortunately, it looks as if Joe Judge might be in over his head. I mean, some people are saying, oh, he knows how to coach, but I don't see that. I see a man who's already lost control of his locker room and of his team. Not to mention, he has that bum Jason Garrett as one of the assistant coaches. That's how you know the Giants are doomed, when they bring in that piece of crap. So with that being said, the Giants are probably going to fall off big time this year. The Cowboys are most likely going to be number 2 now that they have Dak Prescott. We don't know how long Dak's going to last because already there are question marks about him and his shoulder because of Jerry Jones' old ass not knowing to stay the fuck away from everyday operations. But we'll get into that in a minute. With the Giants, though, I see them falling off. Even the Eagles seem to have an interesting quarterback situation that's better than the Giants right now. The only thing the Giants have that's positive for them is the running back situation. The wide receivers are question marks. Tight ends are question marks. The line is garbage.
Well, the thing is, that running back situation is only positive if that offensive line actually blocks for them, which they won't.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if we're breaking it down by position, all they have positive to really talk about is just the running back. If we're talking about the line is garbage. So Saquon's going to have to run for his life and hope he can dodge tackles on his own because the line ain't going to help him. The defensive line is putrid. The linebackers are atrocious. The secondary is low rent at best, like bottom of the bin at Walmart at best. That whole team is in shambles. And quite frankly, the Giants are not going to... They're not going to sniff second place. They only sniff second place because Dak blew out his leg last year, and the Eagles essentially imploded when season's end hit. So I think we could be looking at a last place team for the Giants, to be honest. I see the Giants, they had 6 wins last year. I'm going to be honest with you. I think I see them winning, I see them going 4-13.
You know, I tend to agree with you. I mean, it's interesting because they tried to make some moves on the defense. They brought in Josh Jackson and Adoree Jackson to be Josh Jackson for the Packers and Adoree Jackson for the Titans to be new corners for them. And of course, Leonard Williams is really, really good up front for them. But the rest of their defense has so many questions.
Oh yeah.
And the interesting thing on offense is that obviously there's Saquon, but they made attempts to give Daniel Jones targets. They brought in Kenny Golladay. They got Kyle Rudolph out of Minnesota. They drafted Kadarius Toney. Sterling Shepard's already on the team, and he's really good too. They have the weapons around him, but the thing is with the offensive line, you talk about shopping at the bargain bin. That's exactly what they've done with the offensive line, is that they've been just shopping at the bargain bin. They got Billy Price, who was a bust, first-round pick from the Bengals, to play center for them. And the hits just keep coming. And the offensive line, I just don't see how they're going to make any holds for Saquon Barkley, nor do I see them being able to block for Daniel Jones to hit his new target. And that's assuming that Daniel Jones can even hit them, because I have zero faith in Daniel Jones as a quarterback.
Yeah, there's no reason to have faith in Daniel Jones as a quarterback, and if I'm going to be completely honest, other than Saquon Barkley, there is nothing positive about the Giants, man. Even the coaching staff is horrible. Even the special teams is atrocious, Their kicking situation is probably going to be one of the worst in the league, because I saw their kicker shanking kicks in some of the videos I saw for the Giants. So, Yeah, man. This again, second place last year was because of injuries due to the Cowboys and Eagles. This year, reality is going to hit them like a ton of bricks, and they're going to win like 4 games at best.
Yeah.
And then moving on to Dallas, since we talked about the Cowboys, they have Dak Prescott back, but here's the problem: Dak Prescott is not 100%. Even though his leg is 100%, that shoulder of his is not. And even though he's lying about it, and Jerry Jones, his old ass, tries to lie about it, but because, the dementia's setting in, he's starting to blurt out things that he don't really want to blurt out. And he's starting to really spill the beans on how Dak Prescott is really feeling. When you get old and the brain rots, that's what happens. But unfortunately, due to Jerry spilling the beans, we now realize that Dak is in a lot of pain and that he is basically pushing himself, which is why his progression has gone down. Jerry has moved backwards, and instead of being a silent owner, all Jerry Jones has done is hire another puppet, Mike McCarthy, to carry out his orders. And basically he's telling McCarthy, yeah, play his ass. He's the face of the Cowboys. Play his ass. And unfortunately, the performances are suffering as a result. The man's leg blew out on national television in one of the nastiest scenes you'll ever watch. But it's not just that for the Cowboys. They get Ezekiel Elliott back, which is great. But the problem is Ezekiel Elliott has lost weight. It might help him with speed, but Zeke is a power back. Don't go vegan yet, Zeke. Wait till you retire to go vegan. Don't go vegan while you're in your prime. That's when your numbers go down. He needs to be big Zeke, not the guy losing weight and then getting popped in a few plays, and next thing you know, his ribs are broken. We don't need that. Well, Cowboys fans don't need that anyway. As far as the receiver situation, they should be okay. They still had some good weapons from last year, and with what they had to work with, it wasn't too bad when they were able to click with Andy Dalton's scrub ass for the games that he played. And as far as that defense goes, there are still some question marks on that defensive side of the ball as well. They're okay, but is it enough to carry them to any sort of promised land? Hell no. They're probably going to win second place by default because the Eagles are... the Eagles are shit, and I'll get to that in a minute, but by default, the Cowboys are going to be in second place. They won 6 games last year. Shit. I'm going to put them at... I'm going to say either... Let's see, I put Washington 9 and 8. I'm probably going to put them at 8 and 9. They're going to be neck and neck with Washington this year, as long as the majority of their important pieces stay healthy.
To me, with Dallas, it all depends on Dak.
Oh, yeah.
It all just depends on his health. I mean, I think if we're looking at another season like last year, Dallas is going to be around where they were last year with 6 wins, 5 wins, or whatever. But if Dak somehow is able to remain healthy and be the same Dak that he was that started last year, because he was on fire to start last season.
Yeah, he
before
was.
the injury. That, is that Dak is able to show up. And there's one good thing going for him is that, one of the problems with Dallas last year was that almost their entire offensive line was injured, and now they're all back too this year. So if Dak can play well, and if he can stay healthy, they can threaten, I think, Washington for the division.
Right.
But that's if and only if Dak is healthy and playing. So with that in mind, I'm gonna put them at 8 wins.
Yeah, that seems about right. At least 8 wins. About 7. Yeah, at least about 7, 8 wins. They're definitely gonna be neck and neck with Washington though, and I think it's gonna come down to a toss up in terms of who wins. I don't see anyone running away with the division, if that makes sense. Nobody's gonna have a 3-4 game lead. I feel like whoever wins it and whoever comes in second place, it'll be neck and neck.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then our final team of the NFC, Philadelphia Eagles. Oh boy. The Philadelphia Eagles made an interesting move recently too. They signed, of all people, Gardner Minshew to back up Jalen Hurts in Philly. You know what this tells me? This tells me that there is a quarterback controversy brewing in Philly. That means ownership wants one guy, the coach wants the other guy, and some shit's about to go down. Meaning that it's probably going to tear that locker room apart, and it's probably going to tear that entire team apart. And what I find really interesting is that even though the Eagles have tried to address some needs in the draft, and they have some pieces that look like they could have some promise, I still don't see this team excelling any more than they did last year. They're not going to be in last place. That's going to be for the Giants, but I do see a third place finish for this team. They still have a whole lot of work left, and they need to get their quarterback situation figured the fuck out before it's too late.
I think it's already too late for this year.
Yeah, well, yeah, for this year, absolutely. For this season, absolutely. And by the way, for the record, I almost forgot to mention the record. I'm going to peg them at, let's see, I'm going to say I said last place for them, so I think it's going to be 5-12 or 4, actually no, I said they're going to be second to last, so I'm going to say 5-12. I think they're going to be bad. I think they're going to be, yeah, that whole team's already bad. The fact that they don't even have a set quarterback, and that bringing in Gardner Minshew just destroys the whole quarterback plan, yeah, they're definitely screwed now. What are you thinking for them?
Yeah. I agree, 5-12.
Yeah, 5-12 seems about likely, but yeah, it's all going to rest on the quarterback situation. If they can get that together, they just might, I don't know, maybe have a shot at third place, but that's about as far as they're going to go if they even get that far. And with that being said, folks, that is the AFC and NFC that we've wrapped up in past videos. That's pretty much the NFC that we just wrapped up right there. The final two.
Oh, the final part of our prediction.
What's up?
My playoff teams, the Buccaneers will be the number 1 seed.
Okay.
And win the South. The Packers will win the North and will be the number 2 seed.
Okay. Buccaneers
and this is
and
where
Packers.
It gets tough.
Okay.
Because the number 3 seed is going to be the winner of the NFC West. And probably the toughest division of football. I'm going to say the winner this year is going to be the Rams.
All right, so you're gonna go.
The number 3 seed.
You're gonna go Matt Stafford on this one, okay?
Yeah.
All right. See that's the thing, man. That's gonna be the division. That's gonna be pretty much a toss-up throughout the entire year.
Yeah. My number 4 seed will be Washington, winning their division, as we just talked about.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
My 5 seed will be Seattle.
Oh, all right.
Get into the wild cards now.
Oh yeah, they're gonna get that wild card. They're gonna slide in with it.
My 6th seed will be the Niners.
Oh, the Niners. Okay. All right, so you're going to go 49ers on that one. That's interesting.
And I think I'm going to stick with the idea that I was starting with our last episode and say the entire NFC West makes the playoffs and the Cardinals come in at seed number 7.
That's certainly one of the more wild scenarios, but it's certainly a likely one because the South.
I'm doubling down on it.
I mean, you may as well because the North only has the Packers. The East has, it's going to have only one good team out of there. Well, not even a good team. It's just going to have a team out of it. The South is only going to have the Buccaneers, and I think the West is going to leave it open for everybody else.
Yeah. There are 2 teams I can think that might, be in the hunt. Those teams I'm thinking about could be the Dallas Cowboys and maybe the Chicago Bears with Justin Fields. Maybe.
Yeah, that's the thing. If Justin Fields is starting by that point, which he should, hopefully he is. Actually, he definitely should be by then, because Andy Dalton is not going to last that full season. But if he is starting by then, that is highly likely. And for the Cowboys, yeah, if they are still intact, if that squad is intact, then yeah, their chances are pretty high too.
How about you? What's your seeds?
I mean, my seeds are pretty much kind of the same as yours. I mean, I have the Buccaneers at 1, Packers at 2. Well, the Packers, of course, going to win that division. I have Washington coming out of the East, and then out of the West. Obviously, your scenario of all of them making it seems likely, but just to pick a winner out of there. I was thinking Seattle, but I too am going to go with the Rams because I like their defense better. I like their defense a little better right now. The Cardinals still got work on theirs, and the 49ers, their defense is still alright, but I don't know if it's up to the Rams level yet, so I'm going to go with them as well. So we kind of have the same ones right now going into the season. And speaking of the season, are you ready for week 1? All right, so folks, this is officially week number 1 in the NFL. Starts on Thursday night, September 9th. The Cowboys face off with the Buccaneers. Who you got?
Picking the Bucks.
Yep, I'm picking the Bucks in a blowout. Yep, absolute. It should be a blowout. They're at home. And it's a primetime game. Tom Brady's going to beat up on Dak Prescott on the road. Well, at home, I should say. Then September the 12th, day after September 11th. At 1 o'clock, Jaguars and Texans. Tyrod Taylor announced as the starting quarterback for the Texans earlier today. Who do you have in this game? The Jaguars or the Texans?
Honestly, a tough matchup.
Yes.
And if not for the Jaguars seemingly being a little banged up heading into the game, I'd pick them. But I'm going to pick the Texans, actually.
Yeah, I think Urban Meyer has already lost control of that team. It's going to slowly dissipate, because I'm telling you now, when you are a college coach, you cannot coach grown men in the NFL like they're in college. Chip Kelly tried to do that shit, and it didn't work. Urban Meyer, we'll see what you got, but oof. It's going to be a rough start for him. I think the Texans are going to beat him, too. I'm going to pick Houston. The Chargers travel to Washington, D.C. to play the Washington football team. Oh, shit. You know what? As much as I like Justin Herbert and as much as I like that Chargers team, I am going to go with the Washington football team at home for, I'd say, kind of an upset.
You know, because of that defense, I think I'm going to have to agree with you.
Yeah, I think that defense is gonna give Herbert a lot of problems, and I feel like Fitzpatrick can do just enough game managing to get a victory for Washington. So you and I are definitely in agreement on that. Seattle at Indianapolis. Seahawks travel to Indianapolis to face the Colts. I like this game, but I'll tell you what. Carson Wentz is, I swear that man's body's made of paper mache. He's about to be another Andrew Luck if he's not careful. Not in terms of skill, but in terms of health and injuries. I am going to go with the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks will go on the road and beat up on the Colts in their own stadium.
Yeah, I agree. I'm picking the first road team of the weekend to win, the Seahawks.
All right, so we got our first road team of the weekend, the Seahawks. Next up is the Jets and Panthers. This is a revenge game for Sam Darnold. Also, the debut of Zach Wilson at quarterback for the Jets, as well as the Jets' brand new head coach, whose name escapes me. I am going to...
Robert Salama.
Yes, Robert Salama, thank you. I am going to pick... I'm going to pick the Panthers here because the Jets have a rookie team and a young team. I think that first game's going to be kind of a rough one for them as they kind of get their chemistry together.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very evenly matched game, even still.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm gonna agree and say Sam Darnold gets his revenge, gets a win.
Good stuff, man. I'm thinking it too. Sam Darnold revenge game right here. I know he would love to get a win against his former team, even though his former coach isn't there. I'm sure he would love to get a win against his former squad. That'd be a good one for him. Vikings travel to Cincinnati, Ohio, to play the Bengals. Now, oh boy. This is going to be a very tough season for my Vikings right here, but I'm going to pick them because even if Joe Burrow plays for the Bengals, how many games is he really going to last? Like, even though it's fuck the Bengals on this channel for what he's done to him in the past, realistically, how many games is he going to last before he just gets completely destroyed?
Who knows?
I know, right? He may not even make it out of this game. I'm going to pick the Vikings. Give me the Vikings all day.
I'm also going to pick the Vikings on the road.
Good stuff. So that is 2 road teams we got. Seahawks and Vikings so far for the weekend. Oh, here's a good matchup right here. Cardinals on the road. Travel to Tennessee to take on the Titans, man. The new-look Titans with Julio Jones. Go up against the Cardinals with that high-powered offense. And, of course, a new-look defense with J.J. Watt on that side. You know what? Oh, this is tough. This is really tough, man. This is really tough. I am going to pick the Titans at home just because they're at home. But this is going to be a very close game, though. I'm definitely going to have my TV on this one.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the games of the week.
Yes.
Right here, Cardinals-Titans.
Absolutely. I'll be watching this at 1 o'clock.
It's going to be interesting to see how the Titans defense has improved. And I guess for that matter, if the Cardinals defense has improved too. But I'm also going to pick the Titans at home.
Interesting. So we are both on the Titans at home. Not a bad pick at all. Not a bad pick at all. Next up, we have the 49ers taking on the Detroit Lions at home. A new-look Detroit Lions team with Mr. Kneecap Eater himself, Dan Campbell, as the head coach of the Lions. And, of course, the 49ers being headed up by brand new signal caller Trey Lance. It looks like he might be the... Well, actually, I don't know if he'll be the starter. It'll probably be Jimmy, but I'll tell you what. Very interesting 49er squad. They're going on the road to play the Lions in their first game. Go ahead and give me the 49ers as my third road team picked this week. Who you got?
We're on the same page.
We are on the same page. 49ers over the Lions. Should be a good beat down for the Lions. I mean for the 49ers. Oh, next up. This is going to be a very good game right here. Another game to watch out for. The Steelers traveling to Buffalo to play the Bills. The Bills in their first big game since their fantastic run in the playoffs. And, of course, the Steelers in their first game after an 11-0 campaign that went horribly wrong afterwards. Oh, goodness. I am going to pick the Bills, though. I think the Bills are going to take it to the Steelers at home and give Bills Mafia something to go home happy about.
We still riding together.
Good stuff. So you two are on the Bills over the Steelers. Next game we have the Eagles taking on the Falcons and actually on the road in Atlanta. The Eagles on the road for their first game, probably not good considering their quarterback situation's a mess and that whole team is a mess. But good news for them, they're facing another team that's a mess in the Falcons. However, when assessing both messes, give me the team with the better quarterback that's at home. So I'm gonna go with the Atlanta Falcons. They're gonna make their fans happy with a 1-0 start. but then they're going to be wounded birds after about 3-4 weeks.
No, but I do agree with this too. I mean, with a more secure quarterback situation and also playing at home.
Absolutely.
Even though the Falcons are known to disappoint.
That's very true.
I'll ride with them this time.
Very true. Good stuff right there. Oh, this is going to be... Whew. You want to talk about a game of the week? Got us another game. Oh, yeah. This is definitely it right here, man. The Browns traveling to Kansas City to face the Chiefs, man. And the defending AFC conference champions. Now, this is going to be a very interesting game because you have the high-powered Browns going up against the high-powered Chiefs, and they had one hell of a playoff game. But hey, actually no, they've had one hell of a matchup in the past. But I will say this: I think the Browns are going to be a team that can go on the road and actually make some noise this year. I think they can make some noise on the road, be some road dogs, and I think this game could be a good example of it. I like the Chiefs, of course, but you know what? I am going to go for an upset here. As much as I would love the Chiefs to win for selfish divisional purposes, I'm going to pick the Browns in an upset.
Ooh.
I think they get it done on the road, but it's going to be a very close game. Probably going to come down to a field goal if they actually do win it.
Statement. You say the Browns make a statement on week 1.
I think they make a statement week 1. Primetime game at 4:30 on the road in Kansas City in Arrowhead, one of the loudest stadiums in the league. I think they go in there and I think they make a very loud and shocking statement. It's going to be one of those week 1 upsets that we didn't see coming. Like, you know how we always have that one week 1 shocker? I think this might be it.
Okay. I see where you're coming from.
I think this might be it because looking at all the matchups, a lot of them seem very predictable. I think this is going to be the one game where we could see something crazy happen. And, I mean, the Browns have the team to do it, you know?
All right. I'm going to stick with the Chiefs, though.
Okay. All right.
I like where your head's at.
No doubt. So you're going to go Chiefs on that one. And, of course, this is perfect because this is the game of the week, so it's good that we're kind of split. So you're going to go Chiefs. I'm going to go Browns in a massive upset, but we're definitely going to keep this video timestamped. That way we can refer to it in case it happens. But that's going to be the upset for me. Next game. I like this next game. Saints and Packers. Oh, shit. Call accidentally ended. Oh, shit. Hold on, folks, actually. Oh, you good?
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. No idea what happened there, but glad you're back.
Yeah.
As I was saying, though, Packers and Saints. The battle of quarterbacks with Aaron Rodgers and Jameis Winston. Now, this is very interesting for Jameis Winston, bro, because this is Jameis Winston's first test as a starting quarterback on a different team. Now, this is not the Buccaneers squad he had in Tampa. This is a whole different ship that he is now the commander of. But with that being said, even though the Saints are at home, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to start the final dance, if you will. This is kind of the last dance for him and for the Packer squad this season. A la Michael Jordan, I guess, is the best way to put it. This is the last dance for them. I think the Packers begin their last dance by taking out the Saints week 1.
I agree, and I not only think they take them out, I think they do it easily.
I think so too. That Saints defense is so bad, Rodgers is going to have a field day with them. The next game, oh wow, the Broncos and the Giants. The Giants are going to get kicked in the face at home by the Broncos. They're going to be skull-dragged and beaten up pretty bad. Bridgewater's going to have a great day. I imagine Jerry Jeudy's going to have fun burning up the corners of the Giants. And, Von Miller and that defense, they're probably going to bully and beat up Daniel Jacobs from quarter 1 all the way to the end of quarter 4. So give me the Broncos on the road.
Yeah, I agree.
Good stuff.
A win for Teddy B.
A big win for Teddy B, indeed. And a good one on the road, man. Another good 4:30 game. The Miami Dolphins travel to Foxborough to play against the New England Patriots, who, instead of fielding Cam Newton, they have decided to field rookie Mac Jones. And boy, oh boy, I'm telling you now, bro, they are going to regret fielding Mac Jones over Cam Newton. Cam Newton, didn't have the best preseason. He looked good and had his moments, but I don't know if you get rid of him for a rookie who, let's face it, it was the weapons around him that carried him all the way to that national title. It wasn't him. But with that being said, I believe the Miami Dolphins are going to go on the road and get a win here because that Patriots defense is nothing scary. That Patriots offense is nothing scary. And the Dolphins have continued to build around Tua. They've added some pieces for Tua, and I imagine that defense is going to come through for them as well as the special team. So give me the Miami Dolphins on the road.
Yeah, I agree. Dolphins win.
Good stuff. And then the Sunday night game, our first Sunday night football game of 2021, of the 2021 season. The Chicago Bears are traveling to L.A. to face Matt Stafford and the Rams. This is Matt Stafford's debut with a real football team. Do we count the Lions as a real football team? You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if we count the Lions as a real football team. This is like Matt Stafford going from XFL veteran to now NFL debutante right here. This is what it feels like. He is now in the big show with a legitimate team that actually cares about his health and well-being. And he'll be playing a team that features a rookie quarterback who is probably going to steal Andy Dalton's job. If not by the end of Sunday night, he will by the season's end for sure, because Andy Dalton is hot garbage, and he's not going to last as starter. So with that being said, give me the Rams at home. Matt Stafford's coming out party on a legitimate football team. Who you got?
Yeah, Rams.
Got the Rams, man.
Win.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Matt Stafford on a legitimate football team is going to be one hell of a weird sight to look at, but it'll be great at the same time. And with that being said, the feature game of the weekend, Monday Night Football. There's no doubleheader for Monday Night Football this year, folks, like there usually is for the first Monday night of the year. But instead, it'll be the Baltimore Ravens traveling to Sin City, Las Vegas, to meet up with the Raiders in a showdown in the very first game played at the new Allegiant Stadium out there in Las Vegas.
With fans.
With fans, by the way. Thank you for adding that. Full fans in attendance. I believe they'll be required to wear masks, I believe. But yes, fans will be there. I tell you what, man. The Ravens have a very interesting situation on their hands. We didn't talk about this because we're talking NFC today, but the Ravens not only lost J.K. Dobbins due to a torn ACL, as we talked about last week, but we learned they actually lost Justice Hill due to a torn Achilles, and he is now done for the year as well. So that's now 2 running backs on the shelf for the season before Week 1 even starts for the Baltimore Ravens, and as a result, they are bringing in, I believe it's Devontae Freeman and Le'Veon Bell, of all people, a man who turned down a Ravens contract in the past. They are bringing him in for a workout. So, cuz, what do you think about this? Breaking developments now. The Ravens now have lost 2 key running backs in their running back room, and it looks like we're going to bring in a couple of, maybe a body or two, just to kind of fill the void.
Well, they have to. They have to.
Yeah, they have
to
to.
fill the roster spot. You can't go into the season with 2 running backs, man.
Well, that's the thing. Well, technically 3 because of Lamar, but you are correct. 2 by design. What's interesting though? Do you think Lamar is going to run more because of this?
I don't think it really affects the game plan. I mean, if anything, you would think it might make the Ravens throw more.
Well, that's
so that they don't put the running backs that are on the roster.
Well, that's the thing. And that's the thing. We're gonna really see how much Lamar has developed as a passer this season, because now that you have 2 of the crucial running backs on the team out for the year, well, really one crucial one. Justice Hill was just in the rotation, but now that you have 2 of them out, and assuming Le'Veon Bell is going to be the replacement, we can just we can obviously do good with Bell in the running back room. However, I feel like Lamar is probably going to do a lot more running than he has in a little while. And this could be a good or bad thing for us, for the Ravens. I have no idea which way it's going to go. But as you said, though, it's going to open up the passing game. And I mean, let's be honest. Do we really want him to pass a whole lot? We don't want that. We want the running game to be opened up. But, we want the passing game to be there. But mainly the Ravens are a running team, so it's like losing 2 running backs is usually not good. But we'll have to see what comes of it, though. I think Le'Veon Bell will be a good replacement, and I'm pretty sure they'll sign one more body, maybe a practice squad guy, maybe some rookie free agent guy. But either way, I think the Ravens will be fine, though.
I mean, I think the Ravens will be fine. I do think that we're likely going to get news tomorrow. The time we're recording right now is September 6th. So we'll hear tomorrow, September 7th, and the Ravens sign Le'Veon Bell. My only problem is that I don't think Le'Veon Bell is a good fit for the team. I think his running style is not a scheme fit for what the Ravens do.
Right.
And granted, Le'Veon Bell, when he's here, he will be the number 2 or number 3 running back, so he won't be really depended on. But when he is in there running the ball, I could foresee it being something like a Yannick Ngakoue situation like last year, where good player, big name, not the right fit for this team.
Absolutely, and we have come across that before, like you said, big name but just doesn't fit in the scheme. The good news for this, though, I'd say about this situation is that it opens up an opportunity for Gus Edwards, and you and I have talked about it before. Gus Edwards is more than capable of being a starter in this league, but he's never had the opportunity. This season, he's now going to have it because, I mean, let's face it, the running game has now fallen onto his shoulders at this point.
Yeah,
absolutely. So it's going to be rather interesting to see how he handles it. But with that being said, I think the Ravens will still be in good shape. Hopefully, we get Bateman back pretty soon because he's been out for a little bit. We get some other pieces back.
Unfortunately, they won't. The Ravens officially placed Rashard Bateman on injured reserve, which means that he is required to miss at least the first 3 games.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. He's going to be out for a little bit. So we're not going to get him back like next week or anything, but hopefully we get him back at least like week 4, week 5, and hopefully he doesn't miss too much time after that. And we do need some other pieces back, of course. I know Jimmy Smith had a scare, and I'm pretty sure he'll probably be back at some point. I don't know when, but hopefully he'll be back in the lineup. And hopefully, for goodness sake, we don't lose anybody else. Because, I mean, hey, injuries are going to happen. But holy shit, losing 2 running backs in training camp is not a good sign usually. It's not ideal. But either way, though, with all this being said, I am going to pick the Ravens on the road. But again, the Raiders have a pretty good team, though. They have a good team.
The Raiders do have a pretty good team. But I also believe the Ravens will come out strong as they normally do in week 1.
Yes, they're going to come out week 1. They're going to play Inspire. They're going to be on the road. So it'll be an electric atmosphere there in Vegas. But yeah, man. Monday Night Football, the big bright lights. I think the Ravens are going to shine bright, and I'm going to pick them to walk out with the W just like you. So you and I are on the same page on that one. So to recap, we have the Saints, we have the Rams, we have the Dolphins, the Broncos, the Packers. I have the Browns, you have the Chiefs. That's like the one game we're split on. We picked the Falcons, we picked the Bills, picked the 49ers. Who do we pick? Well, the Titans one, I know I picked the Titans. You picked them too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You picked the Titans. We picked the Vikings over the Bengals. We picked the Panthers over the Jets. We picked the Seahawks over the Colts. We picked the Washington football team over the Chargers. We picked the Texans over the Jaguars. And then this Thursday night, we picked the Buccaneers to curb stomp the Cowboys. So, folks, there are your predictions. For all those that are making bets, definitely utilize these picks for that. As far as fantasy football players, for those that want like a little fantasy guide, I will be recording a separate little fantasy guide for those that want, just like a little list of players you might want to consider before, just like maybe some last minute trades or waiver wire moves before week 1 begins. But, folks, we thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, your main host, Jay Smoothe, holding it down here with B Money, my co-host. Always appreciate you coming on with me, bro.
Of course.
And, of course, next week, we will be here to not just recap week 1, but also preview week 2. And not to jump to week 2 so early without even the first game starting, but, like, already Thursday night, oh, God. The second Thursday night of the year. It's funny how the first Thursday night is like Buccaneers Cowboys. Okay, a good game. But the second Thursday night game reminds you that, okay, now it's like normal Thursday night football where it sucks. The Washington football team and the Giants are going to play, bro. On next, like the second Thursday night game. That lets you know that we're in true Thursday night football mode when the matchup is that bad. And then, like, the some of the other Sunday matchups for, like, week 2, it's like Patriots and Jets. That's a nice one. Broncos, Jaguars, Bills, Dolphins. Great game. 49ers and Eagles. Rams and Colts. That's not bad. Raiders and Steelers. Bengals and Bears. Texans and Browns. Saints and Panthers. Vikings and Cardinals. Oh, shit. Falcons and Buccaneers. Titans and Seahawks. That'll be a good one. Cowboys and Chargers, that'll be a good one. And then, of course, the Sunday night football game. Chiefs travel to Baltimore to play the Ravens. So how about that, bro? The Ravens 2 straight primetime games to begin the year. Monday night and then week 2 Sunday night. Against opponents that are in the same division. First they get the Raiders, then they get the Chiefs in week 2. The Ravens are going to have one hell of a crazy road this year, so that's going to be interesting. And then, of course, the Monday night game is the Packers and Lions will be a skull drag. But, yeah, we will be back to give you guys the results for that. Well, to preview that next week should be really good. But, yeah, definitely enjoy all the games this week, folks. Enjoy fantasy football. Enjoy gambling. I am certainly going to gamble on the games here that I feel the most confident in. But is there anything you would like to leave with before we sign off for the week?
Nah, enjoy the first week of football.
Absolutely. Enjoy the first week of football, folks. The fantasy football guide I'm going to record separately. That'll be dropping before Thursday. And also, that'll double as a gambler's guide. So for those that want to get into the gambling game and figure out how to make money betting and parlaying on some of these NFL games, definitely check out my video for that, as your boy is certainly going to be parlaying some of these games this weekend into something nice. So I think I can make a little bit of money. I'm not going to obviously bet on every game, but there are some games in this lineup where I feel confident about it. You know what I mean? Like, Bears and Rams, like, we already know the Rams are going to run through them. Fucking Broncos and Giants, give me that favorite in a parlay. Give me the Packers over the Saints in a parlay. Give me the Browns and Chiefs is too close. I'm not going to touch that. But give me the 49ers and Lions, easy work. Give me the Bills over the Steelers. I think that's easy work. Let's see who else. Seahawks and Colts, that's an easy one. And you know what? I think throw in the Texans and Jaguars. I feel like the Texans are probably going to have odds that make them look like a heavy underdog. And if the Texans have heavy underdogs, go ahead and parlay it into your bets, folks. You're going to make a lot of money with the Texans because I'm telling you now, everybody's, no Deshaun Watson, Tyrod Taylor, and it sounds like a panic. But you got to remember on the flip side, the Jaguars are having a head coach debut on Sunday who's only coached college football, and let's face it, he's trying to run a college-style offense with that team, and it's probably not going to work. We're going to have to wait and see, of course, but I don't think it's going to work out too well week one, so go ahead and squeeze the Texans into that parlay. More gambling advice coming soon. But anyways, folks, have yourselves a great night. B Money and I will be back next week to wrap up week number 1 and, of course, preview week number 2.